Hello and welcome to Under the Visor, the weekly Formula One podcast where one of us knows exactly what he's talking about.
And the other one is still very much learning.
I'm Karl.
And I'm Tom.
And every week we break down the biggest stories from the Formula One world. This week, China.
Indeed, China.
It was also sprint weekend.
It was first
sprint weekend of the season.
Exactly, yeah, the first one. I do like a sprint weekend. I think they're very exciting. Apart from when their sprint races are at 3 o'clock in the morning, or and then qualifying is at 6 o'clock in the morning, and then the race is at 6 o'clock in the morning. But we're nearly out of it. We're nearly out of that area.
Yeah. We've got a lot to get through this week, haven't we?
We have. It was good. It was a good weekend.
It was. But before we get into the on-track action, anything notable happening between Australia and China?
There wasn't a great deal of anything exciting. Obviously, there's not much they can do because the only thing is, obviously, I'm not sure if we mentioned it in the last podcast, but the drivers have to get out of Australia as quickly as possible because they are charged literally per day to be there. Australia tax their earnings by the day, so they literally get out and get gone and as quickly as possible. And also, obviously, a 1 week gap isn't much. I don't know what the time difference is, but they have that. They want to get out of there as quickly as possible.
There's a 2 or 3 hour time difference. China's 2-3 hours behind Australia.
Okay, so it's still significant. Like, you're going to notice that. And obviously they just want to get to China, acclimatise and get ready for all their press stuff. Definitely starts on a Thursday, and they'll probably have some stuff on a Wednesday they need to do as well. So so not a great deal of news this week in between the races, but then there wasn't much time to have any news. Do you want to run through the championship standings after Australia?
Yeah, I mean, obviously, having only been one race, the standings are the results of the first race.
Correct.
You got Russell in first with 25 points, Kimi with 18, Leclerc in third, Hamilton behind Leclerc, Lando, Max, Behrman, Lindblad, Bortoletto, Gasly, Ocon. So these are now in the no points. So you got Ocon, Albon, Lawson in 13th, Colapinto 14th, Sainz, Perez, and then didn't even give it a go, Mr. Lance Stroll, you call him, Alonso, Bottas, Hadjar, Piastri, and Hulkenberg.
We've been through that race, so shall we move on? Team upgrades arriving in China. The big one for me was in free practice. There's only one this weekend because of obviously the sprint weekend. Did confuse Karl. He was looking for about 10 minutes for free practice 2 and 3 and couldn't find it. But yeah, so when this sprint weekend, the structure is very different. So basically there's free practice 1 on the Friday and sprint qualifying. Then on the Saturday, you've got your sprint race. Then you go into main qualifying and Sunday the race. And the teams and drivers were saying that they like that idea because they're thinking of doubling the amount of sprint races for next season. And I think it was Lewis said, "Well, we go to Monaco. It's amazing. Maybe we find a different format for there as well." Because it's actually, although it's an amazing race and I love it, I think it's brilliant. I look forward to Monaco every year. The race is boring and the whole weekend is quite boring. So Lewis was saying maybe we can mix it up on such a beautiful place. Talking of Lewis Hamilton, back to what I was saying, Ferrari brought their macaroni cheese wing or whatever they're calling it, the one that does the backflip. They used it throughout free practice and then we never saw it again. And I don't know, obviously it didn't work or it wasn't up to, but I don't know the reason why they didn't carry on using it for the rest of the weekend, apart from it wasn't good enough.
I mean, I don't know. I think in my episode notes I've mentioned or made note that it made a reappearance, but maybe it's just not given them the performance edge that they thought it would.
The only thing
not worth it. I don't know.
I vaguely remember from free practice is
Hmm.
Lewis spun with the wing. So he was coming down the straight, he flipped the wing, and obviously whenever you've got a wing, it's doing that, it's holding the car down, you flip it up or you flip it back, it takes a little bit of time for the air to reattach and start giving downforce. Now, as soon as he flipped the wing back over, and it looked like it was completely unrelated, but as soon as he flipped the wing back over, that's what sent him on that spin. Now, whether that was... I haven't looked into that again. A lot of people... It did look like it was a Max Verstappen thing again, where the rears locked up.
I did look into it a little bit.
Right.
And they're putting the cores down to a combination of not enough temperature in the tyres.
Right.
And when that aero closed, it just caused a bit of an unsettling kind of thing on the car with the mix of the cold temp on the tyres, and it just caused that spin.
Well, that would make sense as why they weren't going to use it then.
Down to.
So what else happened in free practice then?
We had a little bit of contact between Hamilton and Norris very early on.
Yes.
But nothing really to phone home about. Obviously, Lewis, that spin out that you mentioned about Lewis on turn 10. We see the upside down tail, first time since pre-season testing. But multiple drivers struggling with grip. So Colapinto also span out. He span out on turn 9. But same issue, not enough temp in the tyres.
Yeah.
He did also break down in the pit lane.
He did, yes. Yeah.
Confused the McLaren team because it was right next to them.
Yeah.
But Behrman also had a spin out. So, yeah, 3 or 4 drivers all kind of spinning out and putting the blame on tyre temp.
And Lindblad was impressive. I thought he was very good during the whole... Until he had that issue where he had a bit of smoke coming from the cockpit and all of that. And
I was a little confused at first because when I saw smoke in the cockpit, I immediately thought fire.
Fire, quick, run.
Yeah, and I was like, why isn't he trying to get out? And then obviously the commentators came over and said that the cockpit, now I'm going to get this wrong because I'm no scientist,
right? But
the cockpit has low pressure airflow, which was causing the smoke to come into the cockpit from elsewhere.
Yeah, so it'd be very rare to have a cockpit fire. And also, when you're sat in the car and you've got these 2 tiny little wing mirrors, sometimes you may not know the car's on fire, and you'll normally, the first thing you'll know is when the team are going, fire, fire, fire. And then you go, stop. No, there's not, come on. And then you suddenly come across and you'll see it. But a lot of the time, they don't know they're on fire.
Yeah.
The most common thing is a brake. A brake gets overheated because of the airflow stops going through the air ducts or something. But I think that was a bit more than that.
They're saying a possible transmission issue.
Yeah, so...
Or a hose or something like that.
If a hose pops off, then... You know, transmission fluid can go, or oil can go on something that it shouldn't do, and cause a bit of smoke or a bit of flam.
But yeah, very impressive though from him.
It was again. He was
impressive in Australia.
I'm probably going to eat my words here because I didn't think. I looked him up and I thought, why have they brought him in? What are they seeing that I'm not seeing? He hasn't done this. He hasn't done that. And I am being made to look an absolute mug at the moment because he's doing really well and he's really impressive. And he seems like a nice guy as well. Obviously, we're both in our McLaren shirts, going really well.
Really well. I mean, they both had issues in FP1.
Yeah, there was...
they both had oversteer on the same corner.
Yeah, and... It was an identical. That one was an identical issue. We'll come on to the rest of the issues later on in the episode, but it's just not going well for them. They haven't got their head around the new regulations, which is always normally the case. So before we moved on to the new regulations, where Mercedes took over and Hamilton was winning all the championships. Before that, it was Red Bull with Vettel. Then there was the team works so hard on the championship that they're on, because obviously they want to win it. They put a lot more effort onto that later in the season. Whereas if you're doing like this year, I imagine by Silverstone, McLaren will go, this car is utter garbage. Garbage. That's right. And we're not gonna bother with this anymore. It's not gonna win the championship. Let's put all our effort into next year's car, and try and catch up. Whereas Ferrari and Mercedes, if they're battling very close, won't be able to spare as much resources to put all of their stuff towards next year's car. So hopefully brings the pack a little bit closer together. But we'll see. It doesn't always work like that. But this is the first season for a while where I feel that if Ferrari stop, Ferrari really put their heads together, they could really challenge this year. They're not far away. The thing is, neither are McLaren. When they're actually get their heads together, they're definitely not far off Ferrari. They are just having troubles at the moment. But yeah, so free practice one, you had the Mercedes were first with a 1 minute 32.7, and Antonelli was only a tenth off. And then you have Norris and Piastri, and it was they always seem to do well in practice, and they didn't do badly for the rest of the week. Well, time-wise, they didn't do badly, but they beat the Ferraris, and in that free practice, they would have been doing their long-run pace. They would have been doing their everything in one go. And then so you had Mercedes, McLaren, Ferrari, and then you had Behrman, who had an absolutely amazing weekend. Followed by Verstappen, who we'll come on to later.
A little bit later on, but yeah, Haas looking surprisingly strong as well.
Yeah.
A whole, but yeah, so qualifying for sprint, then I might as well cover that. As qualifying goes, not a lot to write home about. Very quiet sessions. Perez didn't set a time.
No, he didn't
at all. Albon had a lock up on his front left, which dropped him into the elimination zone.
Yeah.
But you had Sainz, Albon, Alonso, Stroll, Bottas, and Perez.
Yeah, the usual suspects.
Both Williams.
Yeah.
Both Aston Martins. Both Cadillacs.
Yeah, and I mean, I think Sainz was unlucky in that one. I think he could have got just about into Q2. Or SQ2, sorry, because we're on the sprint race.
Yeah. But what I will say though, not made me very happy, because I've got Williams as my second constructor on my F1 fancy.
Well, I think I have, and I think you'll find that also that after this race, I don't know who, but somebody has overtaken the lead of the fantasy. By the way, my daughters are massive F1 fans, little fat few. And if they're listening, hi Katie and Megan, then they are massive fans. And my youngest, Meg, normally smashes us out of the park. I don't know how she does it. I think she cheats. But I'm ahead of her at the moment, so I'm very, very pleased with myself. And Katie used a boost this weekend in her fantasy. But the league is open, and we will put a link to it. If you ever want to join it with one of your teams, you can just drop one of your teams into it, and come and play. So we'll put a little link to that somewhere. So if you do want to come and join the fantasy league and be able to gloat and boast, but I don't think you're doing badly. Anyway,
I've gone down to fifth.
You've gone down to fifth. Well, I mean, there's got to be someone holding the rest of the league up. So I believe it's other people at the moment. And then we went into SQ2, and again a fairly calm session. The only drama really was both Red Bulls were slow and narrowly avoided elimination.
Yeah, they were. They didn't really turn up again. But I mean, you had both the Audis, both the Racing Bulls go out. Then you had one Haas and one Alpine. So Hulkenberg, Ocon, Lawson, Bortoletto, Lindblad, and Colapinto were eliminated.
Yeah,
but it was very close.
It was Hulkenberg again.
Hulkenberg and Max and Hadjar.
Yes, again, the Red Bulls I think were quite lucky on that one. SQ3, no incidents really.
Nothing at all. Just the drivers doing their thing. Not much to report. Russell obviously got P1.
Yeah.
Kimi P2, Lando P3, and then Hamilton, Piastri, Leclerc, Gasly, Verstappen in 8th.
And it just shows though,
and then Hadjar.
If the McLarens have got the pace to beat the Ferraris, they just need to get it all together and learn the car a bit more. And then we're off into a sprint race, which is full speed, full whack, just go for it. Conserve your tyres as best you can. They don't really conserve fuel. They just absolutely launch it and love it. And Antonelli just didn't get off the line. Very poor start. Dropped from 2 to 8. And there was a little bit of contact between Antonelli and Hadjar as well. Which obviously didn't help him, but it was another slow start for him. Hamilton obviously took the lead. And then there was a brief yellow flag while Lindblad spun, just as Russell retook the lead on lap 1.
Yeah. I mean, it was great to watch. There was some real racing involved.
Yeah.
And there's kind of that was kind of the theme throughout the sprint and the main race. But obviously, we'll talk about that a little bit later. But lap 2, Hamilton took P1 again, and it was just constant. Him and George Russell just battling every turn. Just one would take the other, and the other one would cut back in, or one would take the lead, and then a couple of turns later, the other one would take it back again. It was just really, really good racing to see. Then we got the news that Antonelli would get a investigation against him for the contact, which ultimately led into a 10-second penalty. Between laps 3 and 8, he managed to regain and got up to P4, but still had that penalty to serve.
Yeah.
So he was trying and get a 10-second gap ahead of the McLarens, so that he could serve the penalty and not lose that place. But obviously, not much time to do it in a sprint race.
No, that's it. And then they got to we'll move to lap 9, where there was a great fight between Hamilton and Leclerc, comes out ahead. Then on lap 11, Antonelli actually got up to 3rd after overtaking Hamilton, still having that 10-second penalty. And then we had a safety car.
Yeah, Hulkenberg spun off track.
Yeah.
Which is annoying, because we said last week how much Audi had impressed us.
Yeah.
So it's sad to see that this is happening. But your top 6 kind of used that to get their pit stops in, get some fresh tyres for the last few laps of both Ferraris, McLarens and Mercedes all stacked up ready. Obviously, Antonelli served his 10-second penalty whilst he was there.
Yeah. And the commentators were wondering why he had such a long pit stop. And it obviously, so a safety car obviously bunches the entire field up. So he had a bit of time to serve his 10-second penalty. Now, if he, obviously it's only I think it was 17 lap race, something like that, maybe
19.
19. If he hadn't have served his penalty and the whole grid was bunched up, and I think they finished with, I think they only had 3 laps to go after the safety car went back in, he would have then had that 10 seconds added onto his race time and dropped all the way down the field. So they actually got that spot on. So well done, Mercedes, for that one. It did drop him down the order
out a little bit.
Yeah, I think he did luck out on it. But I mean, if he was able to keep going, he, you know, I think he possibly would have got a podium. He maybe have finished one place higher because he would have had all those laps behind the safety car and the last three to just absolutely blast it and get as far away from the people behind him as possible. But they made the best of a good job. And then we come to the restart on lap 17.
Lap 17, yeah. Antonelli's now in P8. But just before the restart, on the last turn, he runs a little wide.
He locked up, didn't he?
Yeah, he ran a little wide and Piastri overtook him. But it was before the stop-start line.
So, yeah, I think it was on the main straight. I think Antonelli ran wide. I might be wrong. And I think as they were coming down the main straight, Piastri overtook him before the line. And I know they were looking into it. I don't think they showed it on the main broadcast. They talked about it.
So I think it's because it all kind of happened in a weird order.
Yeah.
So that was lap 17. Lap 18, Oscar actually gave the place back to
after becoming under investigation.
Billy. So it was stewards come up, steward investigating the incident. Oscar gave it back lap 18. Lap 19, they confirmed no further action.
So that's how they try and do it.
So I think McLaren obviously knew that they were going to ask him to give the place back. So rather than do it at the end of the race where there might be somebody right up behind them that might sees that as an opportunity, they've decided let's just do it ourselves. And then the stewards are like, okay.
So there is a bit of that in it, and you are right. So basically, they made a rule 3 years ago, maybe, where the stewards wanted to get involved less and let the team sort it out. So basically, we thought, well, the team's not going to do that, are they? So the stewards will obviously go, right, you're under investigation. And I think it was too late. I think he kind of waited to see if anyone spotted it. And then he gave the place back, which obviously meant that there was no action to be taken. And he was lucky because if there was another, if Antonelli had dropped down another place, he wouldn't have been able to give the place back and he would have got a penalty. So everyone knows the rule. You cannot overtake before the start finish line, whatever happens. So yeah, I think Piastri was quite lucky there. Definitely the right thing to do, just give the place back. I was surprised how he gave the place back. I thought he could have been, whether we didn't hear a McLaren team radio to just said, give him the place back, do not re-challenge. But you would have thought he would have built up all of his battery, got onto a bit where they were about to go through the detection point for all the wings and all the boosts and everything like that, and literally let him pass, and then fired all of his missiles, everything he's got, and just boom, and gone back past him again. But he didn't. He just sort of went, oh, there you go.
There you go.
I'm going to drop. I'm going to carry on and just drop down. I mean, he did finish in. He did finish in sixth in the end. But yeah, it was a good race overall. So obviously Russell won it, followed by Leclerc, Hamilton, Norris, Antonelli, and Russell. Behrman getting 8th and Lawson getting 7th. Your favourite person. Verstappen in 9th.
So Verstappen, quite late on, Verstappen locked up and ran off track, which cost him 2 positions.
Right. Oh, I do vaguely remember that.
That's why he was in 9th.
Right.
But yeah, that's quite late in the race.
Yes.
It might have been when the safety car come back in.
It must have been to lose 2 places. You must have been bunched up then. And our did not finishers are Hulkenberg, Bottas, and Lindblad. So after they've done all of that exciting stuff, and they've just the adrenaline's calming down, and they're all like, right.
Have their lunch,
whatever that. Yeah, it would be lunch, which was probably, I don't know, 3 grapes and a sniff of an orange or something. Then they get told, right now, guys, we're going to go and qualify, and we're going to go and get ready for the main event. And then we hit into Q1, and not a lot happened. It was just an average Q1 session. Everyone behaved themselves. Again, the usual suspects. No, it was all the usual suspects, wasn't it? It was Aldi, Williams, and Aston Martin.
So you had Sainz, Albon, Alonso, Bottas, Stroll, and Perez.
Yeah. Then we move into Q2.
A little bit more action in Q2.
A little bit, yeah. We had a flag. We had a little yellow flaggy.
Portoletto spun off in the final corner.
Yeah, last time we give him any credit.
30 seconds before the end of Q2.
It was.
So it forced quite a lot of people to slow down.
Yeah.
Which did cost Hulkenberg.
It did cost Hulkenberg. I thought it was going to cost more drivers, actually, luckily, I think it was going to cost Lando even, potentially, but I think Lando was just ahead of it. Or they'd managed to move it and sort it out before.
I think it obviously wasn't a full track yellow flag.
No.
It was just for that kind of sector. So a few people, like I say, it was not very long because he was off the track. He didn't.
Yeah, it was into the pits, wasn't it? So. No, was it in that pit area?
It was on the final corner.
Yeah, I'm sure he went round and sort of backwards into the pit area, because instead of going obviously on the first corner, you go round, and if you're going into the pits, you go straight on. I'm sure it was there. So you're eliminated out of that one. Was Nico Hulkenberg, Colapinto, Ocon, Lawson, your favourite, Lindblad. And what is your problem with Lawson? Come on, tell us. He's got such an issue. He's got such an issue.
I have, and it's because the first ever series of Drive to Survive, which was not the one that's just come out, I think it was the one before. Was that his first year? Last year?
Yeah. Yeah.
So he came on to Drive to Survive, and he was all cocky, and he had that cocky face, and he was all like, coming in, I'm going to be the big I am, and I'm this, and I'm that, and just... Do you know what's going to... doesn't wash with me. Doesn't wash with me at all.
I'm going to annoy you even more, right? And I saw this the other day, and I thought, this will really annoy him. But literally, what he's done is he obviously likes you. He's obviously heard of you and gone, I really like you, because his logo is literally an image. Oh, you can't see it. But his logo is literally you.
I hate him.
I saw that and I thought, that is the most arrogant logo you can have. Everyone else is like little driver signatures or their number. No, it's just him in a cap going, eh. But yeah. So obviously a fan.
Just did not wash with me, his attitude. I can't stand people like that.
And then we move into Q3, Carl.
Yes. Russell stopped in the middle of the track. Reported a problem over the radio. As the team come back and say, all looks fine from our end now, he goes, well, it's not. Check the boost, because I've got massive engine brake.
Yeah.
Whatever that means. But they managed to resolve it without bringing him in. They resolved it whilst he was stationary on the track, and he was able to continue on. Didn't impede him too much. He got P2 in the end.
Would you like me to explain engine braking to you?
You can please explain engine braking to me.
So, the easiest way to explain... So, say you're in your road car, right? And you're doing 60 miles an hour. You're trundling down the road, and you put your foot on the brake to brake into a roundabout, right?
Does 60?
Or whatever you're doing, 90, 70 tops.
Sure.
And you brake, and you put your foot on the brake, and that slows you down into the roundabout. That is the same force as when a Formula One driver lifts his foot off the brake. So the engine starts to make power to recharge the battery. So that obviously turns, this is very layman terms, turns the motor that charges the battery, which obviously creates quite a lot of force and slows you down. The other thing is, obviously, this isn't engine braking, this is your downforce. So your downforce hits. So if you imagine you put your foot on the brake in your car, do it tomorrow, put your foot on hard, brake hard into a roundabout when it's clear and safe to do so, not in the rain, and please don't exceed the speed limit of any motorway or road in the United Kingdom. Thank you. Put your foot on it and really brake into it. That is the power of just them lifting the foot off the brake or off the accelerator. And if you ever felt the closest I've come is in a Ginetta, and the power of the you just until you've experienced it, the stopping power of these cars is just unbelievable. And even just taking your foot off, you know, it's literally like, you know, you feel it. So that is, in a layman's terms, when everything's recharging and doing this, the engine's doing so much work that the engine breaks. And when something goes wrong, like it overcharges or there's something wrong, the engine can literally lock your rear axles, which possibly happened to Max in Australia, you know, when he beamed off into the thing, and possibly happened this weekend as well to we haven't got to the race yet, but to Hajar. So that's what engine braking is in a nutshell. I'm sure somebody in the comments will correct me and say, actually, it's more but that's the brief explanation of it anyway. And that's basically all that happened in Q3. And how did they finish, Carl?
Kimi on top. Kimi P1, Russell, Hamilton P3, Leclerc, Piastri, Norris, Gasly, Verstappen, Hajar, and Behrman in 10th.
And what was the significant thing about Antonelli, Andrea, Antonelli getting pole position?
He became the youngest driver ever to take pole position.
From who?
Max Verstappen.
He did, yes. Now, Max Verstappen holds so many things. And do you know one record that can never be broken that Max Verstappen holds? Cannot be broken.
Not without insulting him, but no, go on.
Youngest Formula One winner. I don't think maybe that can be broken. That can be broken. Youngest ever Formula One driver can never be broken. So he was 17,
right,
and however many days when he entered Formula One. The next year, the FIA said, this is silly. We're going to have 11-year-olds driving these Formula One cars if we keep going like this. Everyone's getting younger and younger. So they made a rule. You've got to have a super license. You can only obtain a super license. They didn't say you've got to have a super license. You've always had to have a super license. You can now only obtain a super license after your 18th birthday. So they made that rule, so that can never be broken. It's very unlikely. Verstappen holds a lot of records. Like he's the most wins in a season. He won 20 out of 22. Most laps led. I think he led 75% of the whole season. This was all 2023. Yeah, 2023, I think. So there's so many records he does hold. Obviously, Hamilton holds loads as well. But yeah, so biggest.
I see you're in Hamilton's garage today.
Yes, I am. Yeah, do you like that?
Yeah.
Just loose one of these.
They invited. You just disconnected all for us.
So I've got
to let you in your McLaren.
I'm glad he's noticed. That I've gone to all the effort of typing into some things into ChatGPT, and we're gonna have a different background each week.
What, you mean you haven't gone to China? And
I haven't gone to China. No.
Oh, okay.
No, even though I know what you're thinking. Photorealistic. It looks like I'm actually sat in the garage of a
garage for us common folk.
Right. Okay. But yeah, so we're gonna have a new background each week, and we're gonna make it as exciting as possible.
My background is my Lego F1 cars.
All the cars, Pokemon.
Yeah.
Simba.
Pokemon.
Lamp.
Yeah. Well, they won't be able to see the other bits because it will be cropped, but you'll see a couple of them up here. But over to my right, I've got roughly 60 Lego Speed Champions. A bit of a collector.
He is a bit of a collector.
Or hoarder. Yeah. As some people might call it.
I just collect, real F1 cars.
Garages. Yeah, real F1 cars. Yeah.
So Antonelli obviously took that for the youngest driver ever to take a pole.
Yeah.
And then we move on to Sunday, where we all woke up again. And got ready for the race. And it was a bit pre-race, another
just a mess.
Just a mess from McLaren again.
Yeah.
Both McLarens didn't start. Separate issues. Both electrical, but separate electrical issues, yeah. And same with Bortoletto and Albon had hydraulic problems. So we already lost 4 cars before we'd even started the race, which is just unheard of. It really is unheard of.
Especially 2 from the same team.
Yeah, if you went back to the 90s, it was commonplace. But we might have 26 cars on the grid then, or 28 cars on the grid even, and you had cars that were rubbish, you know, teams that were just terrible, and they would break down all the time. You would probably lose 2 races a season. Even Williams, who were very dominant in the 90s, and Benetton, and McLaren as well. But they would, you know, they would blow up from time to time. But since the 2000s, it's sort of unheard of, and definitely since 2008, I'd say it's very rare. And I like it. I do like it. I don't like the McLaren's breaking down all the time.
Oh, yeah.
But I like the jeopardy that the car may not finish the race. And I think it adds something to it where you are looking for things that could go wrong with your vehicle. Well, talk us through the start then, Carl.
Ferrari nailed it.
Again. Just
pretty much.
Just absolutely. Like, they obviously pressed their 3 buttons, you know, on Mario Kart, where you could get that super start. Boop, 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 boop.
Yeah.
But yeah, they were. But again, they've still got to weave their way, and the Mercedes were learning how to keep them at bay a little bit, but they're just so quick, and that's that. And if you go back to last week's episode, I explained why they're quick off the start. I won't go through it all again, but as to why the Ferraris are quicker off the start than any other car. But yeah, it was such a good start. We literally said, "Oh, there go the Ferraris again."
Yeah, well, very straight away, Hamilton launched into P1, Antonelli P2, Leclerc P3, Russell P4. So the 4 dominators up there again, battling.
Leclerc was nearly in second though. He was trying to go around the outside of.
He was.
But again, with the sweeping way the corners work in China, which I think is quite good, the inside turns into the outside, and the outside and the inside, and everything like that. And he didn't quite have the. So Ferrari really looked the fastest car in the early race, and they would obviously and were flying.
Yeah. Same can't be said for the Red Bulls.
No.
Hadjar made an overtake and then span out, picking up a bit of damage, I think. Forced him to box early.
Yeah.
And Verstappen just really struggled. He had a poor start.
Bogged down again.
Multiple positions.
It's that turbo just isn't spooling up for him. And as we know, that you go into the blue light comes on, you get a 5-second warning, you put your foot down, gets your turbo going, and then you go. It's just not happening. It just literally sounds like when Verstappen, you know, lets out the clutches and goes, and I say clutches because there are 2 on the back of the steering wheel. That's why I'm doing that. He lets out the clutches and just, it's like if you try and pull away in 3rd gear from that roundabout that you've just heavily braked into tomorrow, you then want to try and pull away in 3rd gear, and you'll feel like Max Verstappen. You'll probably get a honk from the person behind you. And what is that idiot in front doing? But yeah, that's what it's like. He's just not. But Hadjar's not having the same problem. So
no,
he's
having different.
He is having different problems. But it's interesting to Max. Just isn't to grips with the start yet, and that's what he obviously he needs to work on. Because he just sees everyone flying through him or flying past him.
Well, he had a poor start. Then he had some oversteer on turn 3.
Yeah,
which caused him to drop about 1.5 seconds. So yeah, he's very much on the back foot already.
Absolutely.
Lap 3, we saw a bit of action.
We did.
Antonelli retook P1. Russell took P3. So both McLarens overtake both Ferraris.
Yes, and this is where we started to see this again. the small turbo and the boost button speed difference start to play out again, because you had lots of changes for the lead going over the next few laps. But lap 3 also saw the Cadillacs do the thing that no teammates should ever do. I believe it was into turn 2. Bottas and Perez collide. A bit of an ambitious move. And it was investigated. It's obviously no further action. You know, it is what it is. But definitely not good for Cadillac at all. There, they definitely don't need more damage, and they definitely don't need to be damaging each other. And then we go on to lap 4.
Yeah, really good racing from Russell. Utilised his boost and took back P2. So we basically turned to the original order of the grid.
Yeah.
And then not much until lap 10, where we saw some early first pit strategies.
Yeah, we saw
Verstappen stopped, swapped to hards, as did Lawson and Sainz. And then that's kind of where the race flipped, didn't it?
Yeah, we had Stroll go off on lap 10 with battery issues, safety car immediately deployed. And this is where everybody dived for the pit lane. Antonelli, Russell, both Ferraris got it right this time, decided that they weren't going to go, nah.
Learned from last week.
So they were, there was a lot of double stacking. Now, if you don't know what double stacking is, it's where the pit crew, there's only one pit crew allowed, and say Mercedes have got both their cars 1 and 2, under a safety car, they lose less time bringing both in. So the second car will try and drop back by about 1.5 seconds, 2 seconds. They'll both come in the pits. One will be serviced. They'll quickly change the tyres, and it's very dramatic and good to watch. And yeah, it gets both cars serviced and out in record time. I think the only person who lost out on that one was Hajar, when his front left got a little bit sticky. I didn't come, but who stayed out in the end?
Colapinto, Ocon, Lindblad, Hulkenberg, and Alonso. And
it really changed the race then, because you had them up much higher up the race order, and they were wondering. Then we were all wondering, was it going to be a 1-stop or a 2-stop? And then Mercedes came on and spoke to Russell, and Russell said, "A 1-stop is going to be very tough," and it would be. I mean,
Tyre Whisperer.
What's that? The Tyre Whisperer. Yep. Said it was going to be tough. Antonelli goes probably the opposite. Yeah, it'll be fine, man. It'll go. That was a terrible Italian accent, wasn't it?
Was that Italian? Was it?
Maybe.
Gotcha.
Cornish Italian. So that was that.
Maybe not do accents.
Yeah, maybe not. Maybe just never do that again. And that really juggled the race around. And it was a long way to go, even though they were on hards. And then we came to the restart, Carl. Lap 13, safety car in.
Safety car in. Verstappen was told, go to the end on hards. Because obviously he pitted before the safety car.
He did.
Obviously it's still the same lap, but he pitted before the safety car. And yeah, the team come over and said, you're going to have to go to the end on the hards, which would have meant 46 laps on one set of tyres. Which is very ambitious.
Yes, to say the least. I mean, yeah, especially as Russell has just said, even having newer tyres, it's going to be hard. Then mid race, we had on lap 15, we had Russell was slow, distracted by a bit of traffic. Hamilton moves up to P4, and then we start getting a lot of overtakes. We had Lewis overtakes Ocon without boost mode, just flew past him. Then Leclerc overtakes Russell, and Russell then starts going out that he's got no grip. And this is only sort of, lap 15 to 18. He's already saying he's got no grip, and he's only been out on those tyres for 3 laps, 4 laps.
3 to 6 laps, yeah.
And then you've got Hamilton is on the charge, passes Colapinto, moves to P2, and Leclerc moves to P3. And then what happened, Carl? We had some more interesting moments.
We had another yellow flag for a track hazard, lap 18.
Yeah.
And Gasly was then investigated for moving under braking against Verstappen.
Yeah.
Turn 19. I don't think that was no further action.
Yeah, nothing came of it. It was quite a good battle, really.
Yeah.
And then 24 we had the battle of the Ferraris, which lasted a good few laps. You know, they were both fighting really hard. Even at one point, Leclerc came on the radio and said, "I'm really enjoying this battle," and the garage, in all their enthusiasm that Ferrari ever gives, okay, great. Don't get overexcited, Ferrari. They're probably, to be fair, they're probably sat there. Now, you've got to ask the question, were they right to battle? Because obviously, did they think that they had no real chance of keeping? Because if they held station, potentially they could have pulled away. Because in the car, they've got basically a computer. Shock horror. 2026 and a computer in the car, and it's got AI in it. It's not ChatGPT. They haven't bunged that in the car, but anyway, they've got. And basically, it learns. They're not using their buttons all the time to do boost mode and everything like that. Basically, the car learns when the best place is to deploy the energy. So you'll notice that during these laps, Antonelli is pulling away, because he's not fighting, he's not doing anything. He is just driving the car, and the car's going, right, I'm going to deploy the energy here to give you the quickest lap time. Now, when the Ferraris were battling, if they'd let one of them go, now which one you say, without them battling, how do you tell which one's the quicker driver, whatever? Turns out that it was probably Hamilton at this point. That person could have then not used boost mode. The car would have learnt then very quickly, which is what they do in practice 1, which is why practice is so important, because they need to run these simulations so the car learns where everything's quickest to use. The Ferrari would have then shot off. The second Ferrari could have held George at bay, and they possibly would have got a second and a fourth. Don't get me wrong, the battle was brilliant. I really enjoyed it, and it's good to see Ferrari letting their guys actually race, because they are notorious for team orders.
I mean, Leclerc said in his post-race, in one of his post-race chats with the press, he said, "I'm really happy Lewis got P3 today, he really deserved it the way he drove this weekend."
Yeah, which is good. And I don't think anybody. I think in the what I'm talking about would have just upset Ferrari, the drivers.
Yeah.
Because they wouldn't have been the opportunity to race. They would have had to pick somebody and said, right, you go, don't overtake him.
Yeah.
So I think they played it exactly right. I'm just playing devil's advocate and saying, did they lose? Did they throw away second doing that? Which obviously then moves on to Russell taking advantage and moving into P3. And then we move on to lap 28, which I think we touched on slightly earlier, the incident with Lindblad.
Yeah, another, albeit brief, another yellow flag incident. Lindblad spins out, which isn't the best for him, unfortunately.
Who was he fighting with? Oh,
I can't remember.
Either way, I can't remember who he was fighting with, but how? So basically, they were, I think it might have been Behrman. Actually, I think it was Behrman. How Behrman missed him when he spun?
Oh, it was
again. Amazing, because Behrman went for the move, overtook him, and then Lindblad just came from. And how Behrman's reactions to get off the track and then more off the track and then go round him. Yeah. Well done, Behrman, for missing him, because that was as close as the Colapinto one from Australia.
He said in his post race. they'd basically battled and he'd overtaken him, and then he took him back and immediately span out. He said, I had about a split second to react. Do I go left? Do I go right? I ended up going left and having to run very wide. In hindsight, I should have gone right.
Maybe, but I couldn't see the space for him to go right.
I think if he'd have gone right, he'd have hit the front.
Yeah, I couldn't see a space for him there. No. And then on to lap 30.
Yes, Russell then takes P2, shows some really strong driving. And then lap 33, Colapinto exited the pit lane.
Yeah.
Ocon hit him.
Yeah.
And immediately came over the radio and went, yeah, that's my fault.
Yeah.
Really sorry. 100% driver error here.
I mean,
he was given a 10-second penalty.
I mean, Colapinto just didn't see him. There was no way. He definitely did not expect Ocon to be there. And just didn't see him at all. So, yeah, fair play, Ocon, for saying it was your fault. I mean, it completely was. But it's still not necessarily completely ruined. But it didn't help him. And then, they got to 34.
Yeah, Alonso. Aston Martin, obviously, we know they've got the vibration issues.
Did you see him in the race? Mr. No Hands?
Yeah.
He was driving down the straight. He'd take his hands off and he'd
just let go.
And do this and then back on again. And fair play to him to get to lap 34. And he said that his hands had gone numb.
He said hands and feet.
Yeah, crazy.
Both had gone numb. He said it just was not worth the risk. It was starting to become a health issue.
Yeah.
Just completely lost all feeling.
Yeah, it's they need to get that sorted. They really do.
Yeah.
And the Ferrari fight continued. You've got to love Hamilton.
Had a little complaint.
Got to love him. I've not got enough power. Next cut scene on the telly. Like he's passing Leclerc. I mean, Leclerc did lock up, granted, and but you know, they'll never have enough power. You can give them a space rocket and they'll say they didn't have enough power. And then we go into lap 40, Carl.
Yeah, more battling from Ferrari. Leclerc retook P3. Hamilton immediately takes it back, and that's the point at which Leclerc came over the radio and said, this is actually a really fun battle.
Yeah.
And then more drama for Red Bull. Lap 46, Verstappen retires.
Yeah.
With a cooling issue.
Yeah.
I think they said in the post race it was an ERS cooling issue, whatever ERS is. But that's potentially huge championship implications for Red Bull.
Yeah, it's just a difficult
They're just
one.
not turning up this season yet, are they?
No. I think with the bogging down issue and the reliability issue, but then it's the first year for their new power unit, so they'll get it together. They might, they might have to, as we know from last season, where Verstappen made up over 100 points to catch and nearly beat, and he would have beaten him if it wasn't for Spain and when that tussle with Russell. I'm a poet and I didn't know it. Anyway, he would have won the championship. So we know he can do it. So never rule him out. And then the final moments on lap 53, Antonelli locks up on turn 14, and as he said, do you want me to do the accent again, or should I just do it in my own voice? I'll do it in my own.
Just do it in your own voice.
Yeah. That he gave himself a heart attack. As he locked up into 14, as you would do when you're leading your first, about to win your first Grand Prix. The gap shrunk slightly, but nothing really. But kept the lead and won his first Grand Prix ever. And well done, Kimi. I was really pleased for him.
Yeah, I was. Youngest driver to get P1, youngest driver to win a Formula One race is what they said,
which we'll now correct.
And also set the fastest lap time.
Yeah, he nearly got the. He did get the trip. Yeah, he got pole, fastest lap, and the race win. So yeah, so I don't know why they've said that because they've misinformed you. He was the youngest to get pole position, but Max Verstappen holds the record for the youngest ever race winner.
No, I don't know whether it was at Japan, maybe,
or China where they were racing.
China, sorry. Yeah.
Should we do this segment again? Yes. Maybe.
Yeah.
But no, either way, really pleased for him. Russell was second, Hamilton, then Leclerc, and then very close. Antonelli obviously got driver of the day because everyone, whatever. Undeservedly, I'd say. But Behrman was second in driver of the day and managed to get a 5th place, which is very good. And then Pierre Gasly was in 6th. Probably one of my favourite drivers in 7th.
Oh yeah,
Liam Lawson.
Yeah, Liam Lawson. Never heard of him.
And then Hadjar still managed to get some points.
The one with the hat thing, with the hair coming out of the hat. Yeah, I think I know him.
Looks a bit like you. Then Sainz, Colapinto are your points finishers, which is, not bad. Retirements. Do you want to read through them, Carl? And your DNSs.
Yeah. So your DNFs, Verstappen, Alonso, Lance Stroll, and then your DNS, Norris, Piastri, Bortoletto, and Albon.
It's crazy. Well, for the next podcast, I'm going to send you a task, Carl. I want you to find the last season where we had 4 DNSs. Did not start. And I reckon you're going to be back into the 80s. Maybe the 90s. Maybe Australia 96. Maybe. I only say that race because I know there were definitely 2 DNSs in 96. Because, do you want me to tell you the story? I'll tell you the story.
Please tell me the story.
So there was a team called Lola. In fact, it actually plays in quite well because MasterCard are back on the scene. So back in 1996, there was a team called Lola who were the MasterCard team. And they didn't want to enter the 96 season. They wanted to enter in 97. But MasterCard said, no, we need to get this car on the grid for Australia 96. And they did. They put this car together. They went out into free practice 1 and were so slow, embarrassingly slow, dangerously slow. And they just brought in the 107% rule. They never were seen again. That was it. They did free practice, and then the team was never seen again. And Lola was they used to supply all the chassis for the Indy cars. So they were a huge manufacturer. So just because MasterCard wanted to rush it, they never took part in the rest of the season. So they were technically did not start in that race. Obviously, we've done driver of the day, Antonelli, who was fastest lap.
Antonelli
was fastest. Oh yes, we've just done that, haven't we?
Yeah.
So what was your biggest takeaway?
Ferrari definitely impressed me this week. I would even go as far as saying Lewis was my driver of the week.
Okay. I'm going to go with...
I really enjoyed the battling.
Yeah, no, I thought that was...
both the sprint and the main race.
I think Hamilton came alive again. I'm going to go with Behrman. I think Haas were a big surprise there. I think obviously the McLaren's not being in the way probably helped them, but yeah, Behrman getting 5th is very good. But my driver of the week is got to be Kimi. I've got to give it to Kimi. For absolutely, I'll actually agree with the rest of the public. And we just have to really see now in Japan, can Red Bull and McLaren get their cars? Well, Piastri hasn't done a race yet. We're coming up to the 3rd race of the season. He hasn't done a race. He hasn't even started a race. Unheard of. Absolutely unheard of. So let's look ahead. Actually, let's talk about one thing before we look ahead. Well, no, we'll include it in the look ahead. But obviously, next weekend is Japan. But some news that we obviously have to get across now is the cancellation of the 2 Grand Prix, Saudi Arabia and Bahrain, have been cancelled. So there will be a 5-week gap. Now, what are we going to do for that 5 weeks, Carl? Don't worry, I've thought about it. What I think we should do is news of the week. So we'll come to you every week still. We'll release on a Tuesday, so we'll still be here, coming in your ears. And we can edit that out, right? We'll do the news of the week. Do you not remember Peter Kay? Chorley FM coming in your ears? Anyway, so we'll do the news of the week. But then I thought what we would do is 2 things. We'll teach you. So we'll pick a season, we'll pick a year, and we'll review that year. Okay? And then I want you to try and catch me out. I want you to go and find some obscure facts and see if I can know about them, see if I've heard of these facts and stuff like that, and come back and test me. So that's what we're going to do for that week gap. Obviously, we've got Japan first. We'll be all raring and ready to go for that.
Yeah.
But we will be here, still bringing you F1 news, and it will be a good chance for us to sort of learn what we can and can't do between, because obviously we're going to have an off season and we're going to have a summer break. So we're just being sort of thrown into that a lot earlier than we wanted to be. But we're still going to bring you a podcast every week around Formula One.
Starting next week, because Japan isn't this weekend, it's next.
Yeah, so next week we will, we're going to do something. Yeah. And it'll be a surprise for all of us.
It will do.
But we'll probably do, we'll do that. We'll probably, we might go a deeper dive into the rules because we haven't done that yet. And then we'll do maybe a Japanese preview as well. Maybe we'll review some Japanese races. Like the 1996 Grand Prix where Damon Hill took his championship. Come on. I am right. Or the 1994 one where Damon Hill said he felt like he was possessed. And I'll leave you with that and I'll explain more next week, but he felt he was possessed through that race. So a look ahead, Japan.
Yeah. Again, I don't know an awful lot about the track. But is it one that Mercedes are going to shine on again?
I think so. I think it might also, I think McLaren and Ferrari could be pretty quick there as well. It's the only track that we go to that is a figure of 8 and that has a crossover, has a bridge. It's also got one of my most favourite corners. I'm not sure if it's still called this, but it used to be called 130R. And it's a full speed left-hand corner, shoots round and straight into a chicane. I think we're going to have, I think Mercedes are going to be there or thereabouts. It might suit Ferrari a bit more as well because they've got the smaller turbo and the extra horsepower out of corners. And there's not as many big long straights there. Obviously, there's the big straight down the back. I think the one thing we need to look out for is will McLaren come good? And I think what we'll do is we might save all of our analysis and look aheads and for the next podcast. And I think we'll do a whole Japan preview. How do you fancy that?
Yeah. I think that's a good idea.
Fantastic. Well, I think we've covered everything from the Australian Grand Prix.
Yeah. That's all from us this week at Under the Visor. New episodes every Tuesday. Whether the grid's ready or not.
Whether the grid's ready or not, or whether there's a race even taking place.
There's something you want us to cover, leave a comment and we'll take a look and we'll fit them into a bit of a Q&A session.
And if you enjoyed this episode, follow, rate, do all that good stuff. Helps us massively.
And it keeps Tom happy.
And that's rare.
Yep. So we will see you all next Tuesday.
Goodbye.
See you later.